Yes. So I'm starting with these basic questions. What is Salesforce CRM? How will you explain what is Salesforce CRM? I could explain it's a web-based CRM application, right? It's a web-based CRM application. So in other words, it's a cloud computing application, web-based application or cloud computing CRM application. So what is the use? How will you use this application? User can log in using internet connection and browser. Right. User can connect internet connection and the browser to log into this application. So what is the use of this application? This application is used to manage customer and prospect interactions, right? So every interactions that an organization have with their customers and prospects can be managed within your Salesforce org, right? So Salesforce CRM in the sense, how do you explain CRM, right? If Salesforce is an application based on a CRM strategy, right? Based on CRM strategy. CRM strategy is a general a strategy where we have n number of CRM modules we have, there in the market, right? So like Microsoft, SQL, SAP, we have many, Sugar CRM, Viva, right? We have many CRM in the market, and Salesforce is one among them. And Salesforce is a web-based CRM application. So where you need not install any application-specific software in your system. You need internet connection and browser to access the application, right? That's what you call it as web-based CRM application. And CRM stands for customer relationship management, right? Which is a strategy to manage an organization's customer interactions and prospects. Interactions can be email, phone calls, right? Contact information, the product information, how you are providing service to the customers, and how do you retain the existing customers. So, right, everything you manage in different tables. So CRM is used to manage everything that you have with your customers. So it consists of different tables and relationships. Like in Salesforce CRM, we have accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, right? All are in right relationship. Account is at the top, and accounts, contacts, opportunities are child to accounts, right? So, and apart from this, the Salesforce CRM is having more inbuilt features to automate the process, right? Like process automations. What are the process automation features we have in Salesforce? We have approval process builder, workflow rules, validation rules, visual flow, right? So, and we have outbound email messages, inbound email messages. We have web to lead features where you can capture the prospects from the company website, right? Which would be able to create the Salesforce lead record directly into the Salesforce. When someone posts the inquiry from the company website, it will create a row into your lead table automatically, right? So those features, and web to case and assignment rules. How do you automatically assign the a lead record to a sales agent, right? So based on criteria. So right, if how do you define Salesforce CRM? Salesforce CRM is a web-based application where user can log in using internet connection and browser. The application is used to manage customer and prospects interactions, right? And what is the core purpose of the application? In short, how will you say? The CRM application helps you to convert a leads to account, right? So your ultimate objective is to convert your lead to your customer, right? So the customer information is managed in accounts and contacts tables, right? So the application helps you with different features like activities where you track the task and event, and the lead is having many fields to track, manage the lead, to manage the prospects, right? Like your lead source, contact fields, the name of the customers. So and you can track the activities under the same lead record, right? So every agents will work towards the one version of data. You are not storing the information in different devices, right? If the process is not standardized, you can see, right, you'll be seeing the information in different places, right? Someone manage in his system, and someone in his tab, and someone is Excel. But this is not the case in centralized database, right? In Salesforce CRM, we have different tables, and every users have login credentials, every agents, and they will work towards one table. So Salesforce CRM ultimate objective is to convert a lead to account. The life cycle, the length of the life cycle, how short you can convert the lead to account. So that's what the CRM application is, right, helping you to achieve this, right? So it shortens the sales life cycle. So any question on this? Am I clear? Am I clear? You can put it in chat window. Am I clear? It's any question on this? I can move to next question. Sainath, is it enough? You need more explanation. So now can I assure, like, will you able to explain and someone asks you what is Salesforce CRM? So what are the products we have in Salesforce CRM? We have Sales Cloud, right, which is very core product of Salesforce, basic product of Salesforce. What is it used? To automate your sales process, sales activities, right? So we have campaign object, lead, account, opportunities, products, and Service Cloud to automate your support process, and Marketing Cloud, Analytical Cloud, and many CRM products. And Salesforce is also having non-CRM service also, right? These are all CRM services, whatever I mentioned. Non-CRM services are also there with the Salesforce, like site.com, Heroku, isn't it? Okay, right. So what is license in Salesforce? How do you explain the user license? What is user license in Salesforce? Every user you add to your your organization should have some license, right? Every user should be assigned with one license mandatorily. User license. I'm talking about user license, right? So every user must have one user license and a profile, right? So what is user license? User license is ensuring what are the features are accessible to the user, right? If I assign an user with a Salesforce license, user license, it means the user have access to all CRM feature, all standard objects, all custom applications, every features in the platform, right? Your process automation, the sharing settings, everything in the platform are accessible to the user. So that's what this Salesforce license says, right? If I have a license to, right, if I have if I'm driving a car, it means what? I got the license to, four-wheeler license to drive my car, right? So I got the license. I'm authenticated to drive my car, right? So same thing, right? When you are an employee for a company, when you enter into a company, right, to as authorized person, you should be an employee of that company, right? You should be licensed with that employee ID, right? So similarly, user should be assigned with Salesforce license. So what type of license? The license decides what are the features that are accessible to you. So if the user assigned with Salesforce user license, it means all CRM features like your standard objects, custom applications, everything that meant for the CRM customization are accessible to this user. And if user is assigned with Salesforce platform license, it means user have only access to accounts and contacts, not all standard objects, only accounts and contacts and other custom applications. Okay, so it's not for all CRM features, Salesforce platform, right? It's still more a level below Salesforce license, right? So cost wise, it should be lesser than Salesforce license, right? So user, if user playing a role of doing a customization of all standard and the custom applications, or it can be an agent who will work on all standard objects, all sales objects, then it should be that user should be assigned with Salesforce license, right? So depending upon user responsibility, user what user is going to what type of activities user is going to perform in your organization. So accordingly, you will first start with license. Okay, and the profile. If user assigned with Salesforce license, and what are the permissions, access and permissions they have, right? So we know like opportunity object is accessible when user is assigned with Salesforce license, but whether user is going to create the opportunity, or is like a manager who can delete the opportunity, also who can modify the opportunities. So that is actually determined by the profile. So how do you explain profile? Profile is a set of, or you can say collections of access and permissions, right? Access and permission. It consists of different sections like tab settings, application settings, object permission settings. So every permissions in your environment, what user can do, you can see it in the you can see those permissions as the checkboxes in the profile template, right? So the profile is a template having a collections of access and permission settings. Right. Suppose I have object permissions in my section in my profile, right? So where I have I have sections for standard and custom. So if every permissions are like a checkboxes. If I enable this checkbox, read checkbox, it means the user assigned with this template, the profile, can read the account, a row in the account table, right? So, right. So the user assigned with Salesforce license, so your profile will also having the features, the features relevant to the user license, right? So if a user is assigned with chatter free license, for example, the profile that you are going to assign to this chatter free user license user, you cannot you're not able to see the object permissions, right? Because the profile will have a features related to the user license, right? So you cannot provide the user with chatter free license for object access, right? You cannot provide access to the object. So the profile is basically will have the permissions related to the user license. Am I clear? So when you explain profile, it's a collection of access and permission settings. It determines what user can do in the organization. So it's very basic template, right? It's for multiple users, right? This is for multiple users. So more than one user, basically, you will go with profile. You're not going to create a profile for every single user, right? If 10 sales agents, all 10 sales agents are going to perform similar activities, then you will go with one profile, and where you set the permissions, necessary permissions, and assign those that profile to every user. Okay, one-to-many relationship, one profile, many users. Right. So suppose I have say 100 sales agent who have access to a lead object to read access. Okay, all they have access to read and create access, for example, right? But my requirement is now only a few sales agents, say 10 sales agents, need a delete access as well. Only 10 sales agents need delete access, right? So not all agents, every 100 agents is going to perform similar activities. So I'm assigned with a same profile for everyone, where the agents can perform read and create on the lead object. Okay, so now my requirement, right, like to only few sales agents need additional permissions. So what could be your action in this case? You can type out in chat window if you're not willing to talk. Yes, you can try your answer. You try out your answer. Right. So you have to go with permission set, right? So the permission set is used to provide additional permissions to the user in addition to the profile permission, right? You are extending it. Okay, you are not going to provide an additional feature, but you are going to provide additional permissions for the feature that is there in the profile. The feature here is lead, right? The access to lead object. So where the read and create permissions are already been there, already given. So you are going to provide additional permission to the user. So you are going to create a permission set for the lead object. Then where I go to the object settings and give additional permissions to the delete permissions to lead object and assign these permissions set to only those 10 agents alone. So where I can create, where I can assign. So it is under users permission set. So I create the permission set here, click new. So lead permission set. You can choose with the license or you can just save it. It's optional. And object settings, go to object settings and lead, right? Lead, edit. So provide delete permission, save it. So now, so whoever user needs additional permissions, I go, for example, this is a user where this user doesn't have delete permissions for the read object as per this profile. So this is a platform license. You cannot, right? It's a platform license. The platform license, it's not having, it won't provide you access to the lead object, right? So I cannot assign that permissions to this user. You got me? The Salesforce platform license says user have only access to accounts and contacts and custom applications. So I cannot assign permission set related to lead object to this user. It won't allow, right? For example, I'm trying to assign here, right? So I can't assign permission set lead PS to user David because user license doesn't allow that permission, right? So, but this permission set can be assigned for any user if you like to provide additional permissions. If the profile, if this is your requirement, you can assign under related list a section called permission set assignments, right? So whenever you like to add this permission set, give additional permissions, go to that user and everything is platform, sorry. So you can assign here, right? Fine. Have you heard about feature license? So what is feature license? What is future license? To better explain this scenario, 1 minute, let me um, right. So there is a user, David, assigned with Salesforce user license and the profile agent, right? So the profile belongs to Salesforce license, right? So scroll down. I the the guy is having access for campaign object, a read permission. Okay, so let me log in and check whether he is able to read the campaign record. Campaign, let go. Yes, he is able to read the campaign records, right? Even in other ownership, right? So he is able to see the campaign record in other users' ownership. Why it is so? He is able to see the, as per the profile, he is able to see the record, a campaign record, because he has given with read permission. But he is able to see others, the campaigns under other owners, right? Other user, other ownership. So why it is so? Yes, because the campaign object is in it should be in either it might be in a public read only model or public read write model, right? As per your OWT settings, it should be. So which decides whether my information can be seen by others and other information I can see? So which feature of your platform determines that? Your OWT sharing settings, right? You go to your, make sense? I'm clear, or I'm confusing you all? So these are my OWT settings, right? So campaign, it's public full access, so everyone can see, isn't it? It's not in private, or it's not in private. So basically, so I can also see others data, even if it is public read only. Every users in the organization can see each other's campaign record, right? So that's what the David is able to see, right? It's fine now. David is unable to see the edit button here, and it's not having a new button here. The reason, the profile doesn't provide that permission, isn't it? Only read permission is given. Fine. So I'm going to provide more permissions to him and see whether he is right. I'm given enough permissions, right, for the campaign object, and save this. So what does it mean? Whoever user assigned to this agent profile now will be able to create, edit, right, delete all permissions on the campaign object. So go back to David's login. I refresh this again. Did I get a new button here? No, right? But you know, like new permission, if create permission is given as per the profile, you should have a new button over here, isn't it? And go here, and even nothing has been enabled, isn't it? Nothing has been enabled. You know the reason? What is the reason? Why is not able to? Right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit the David's user profile and enabling a feature called marketing user. Okay, I save this. Right, the marketing user is saved. So I now go back and refresh this. What I got a new button here, right? Now I also got edit and delete and clone. So what does it mean? Even though the profile has given the permissions for campaign object, right, all the necessary permissions, the user still not able to, right, go with that permission, cannot able to create the record, campaign record. The reason, there is a license called feature license marketing user should also be assigned to that user. So these are the feature licenses. The license, right, the line items, what you are seeing here, offline user, knowledge user, right? So all these are all feature licenses. The feature licenses is nothing but to provide an additional feature to the user, to entitles the user to access additional features which are not included in your user license. So, right, the user license doesn't have that feature, but through the feature license, I can add additional features to the user. Okay, so marketing user feature license says user can create the campaign records, can manage the campaigns. Okay, so more than one feature license can be assigned, but only one user license is allowed here. Okay, allowed for a user. Only one user license acceptable, assigned, but more than one feature license can be assigned. So where I can track the usage of licenses, how do you know how many licenses do you have in your org for that your organization have? Go to company information, track down, and you can see user license, how many is in used and how many is remaining, how many is remaining, and feature license. So I have consumed one marketing feature license, right? So it's used this one. So that's all right. It's a provides additional feature to user access that is not included in the user license. Am I clear? Right. More than one feature license can be assigned to the user. So are we? What is process builder? What is process builder? Yes. What is the first thing that comes up in your mind? What is process builder? It's a process automation, right? Which is used to automate repeated business activities, repeated organization activities. The activities can be what are the activities that can be automated using process builder? When you say process builder, you say it's a process, right? The workflow. The workflow is another process automation, but now, right, every user is talking about process builder instead of workflow. Workflow was is there in the platform from the beginning, but now it's the process builder, which has more actions that can be automated, which has more actions, right? In addition to the field update, task creation, isn't it? Email notification and outbound message. The process builder has more actions automation. So what are those actions? You can create the record, right? Record creation. You can create a new record when the criteria is met. Record can be created for any objects, right? Record create, and record update. It's not going to just a field update. It's going to a record update. And record update can be for your any object, any related object. Can be on parent side, it can be on child side. Right? It's not like your workflow. Workflow is having its limitation in the field update. What is the limitation in workflow field update? What is the workflow field update limitation? You can type out in the chat window. What is the workflow field update limitation? Workflow field update action, you can only update a current object field. It means what? Where your workflow is set, right? So only those fields, if my workflow is on opportunity, if my workflow on opportunity, I can only update opportunity. But of course, you can update the account in the case of standard. Yes, you can update the accounts. If your workflow is an opportunity, you can update opportunity fields, and you can also update account field if required. Okay, but you cannot update the products child to opportunities. You cannot update multiple child record in the workflow. That's a limitation, right? But you can update related records. Related record update you can do. Any objects, and whether it's on parent or child side, you can update in process builder. And you can post to chatter automatically, right? Suppose I have a requirement where if a deal is, a maximum value of deal is created in the opportunity, right? Say 500, right? $5 million deal is won. Then then you would like to post that, update to the chatter sales group, saying like we won this when the opportunity stage is closed won, the criteria, right? And the amount is greater than 5 million, then post the information, say congratulations message to the chatter group. So you can do that, right? You can automate this action. So, and you can take a global action. The global action can be creating a specific record. It can be a specific to object or general actions. You can also automate using process builder, and you can initiate a process. You can also initiate other process, the new process. The other process, you can also chaining the process. You can also chain the process. You can, that can also be an action. And you can approval process. You can also submit the approval process. Like in the approval process, you have to submit the record manually, right? To get approval, to subject that record to the approval process. You should submit the record manually by a standard button, submit for approval in your detail record, right? For every for the object in approval process. But that submission can be automated using process, right? So your entry, the criteria of your approval process can be similar, can be same for your approval process also, process builder process also. In that case, record could be automatically submitted. Okay. So where is the process builder? It's under create, workflow, process builder. So what are the actions you can automate? These are the actions, right? So you can invoke a block of Apex code. You can create a record, email alerts. You can also automate the visual flow. Another flows can also be initiated, right? The visual flow can also be kicked off as an action here, right? And post to chatter, and the process, quick actions can be a global actions or object specific action, submit for approval, update the records. So these are the actions, right? So when compared to workflow, you have everything you can do, but not the outbound message, right? The workflow has inbuilt action, outbound message, where you can send you can pass information to the external system, right? But here you can't do the outbound message directly, but you can call your external service through Apex code, right? That Apex code can have that call out. Make sense? So and what is the other difference when why you go for process builder compared to workflow? What is the other advantage apart from the many actions and field update limitations you overcome using process? But the other main difference, suppose I have workflow on my a contact object, okay? So where I have workflow, when rating is hot, I have some action, sending an email or something, and I have another workflow on the same contact account object. Say when annual revenue is something greater than, then I send an email to or updating something in my description field, right? So any action can be different, and the criteria is different, and action is different. Then I cannot have right, these two criteria in the, if actions are different, I cannot have these two criteria and actions on the same workflow, right? I should have another workflow, isn't it? You agree with me? I should have another workflow here. But in the case of process, you can replace all these workflows using one process, right? The reason, I have blocks here, the criteria and action. So this is going to be for one object, but I can have multiple criteria and actions that can be managed in the same process, right? So one process can replace multiple workflows on the same object. Clear? So I can have such criteria and actions to the maximum 25 blocks I can have, and anytime I can drag and change the chronological order, like which criteria needs to be evaluated first. So those things you can also change it anytime you want, right? So that's well manageable. The process can be manageable, workflow can be manageable in the process, and this is part of your lightning, right? So we know the difference between the workflow and process builder, but anyone can tell me the difference between Apex trigger and process builder? Yes? Any of you? Yes, what is the difference between Apex trigger? What is Apex trigger? Yes, what is Apex trigger? What is Apex? Apex is a OOPS based language of Salesforce, right? So it's used to write business logic, correct? So how it looks like, the Apex consists of declaration statements, SOQL. You can use collections, exception handling, isn't it? So Apex is OOPS based, but it also it can also use the Salesforce own methods and interfaces, right? Apart from, it's not just like it's not a complete OOPS, right? You can also it's a Salesforce own language, so Salesforce own methods and classes interfaces can also be a part of Apex. And Apex has two categories, right? Apex class and Apex trigger. So what I'm asking you is, what is Apex trigger? Apex trigger is a block of Apex code, a business logic, right? The business logic that you write in your Apex class, and you can also write in Apex trigger as well. But Apex trigger is like a procedure. which can be fired, which can be executed based on DML event. Apex code invoked can be invoked based on a DML event. What are the DML events we know? Data manipulations, insert, delete, update, and undelete, right? So these are all DML events, and based on these DML events, my Apex code can be fired. And it's not just after DML event, it's not just after a insert, after delete. We can also invoke this Apex code before I actually save my record, before I actually insert, before I delete, before I update, and after I undelete, right? So you can invoke the Apex code. So before and after DML, right? DML events. That is my Apex trigger. So the Apex trigger is when you compare to process builder, you can also write the business logic in the Apex code, and that Apex code can be fired when the criteria is met, right? In that case, it looks similar to your Apex trigger, isn't it? Am I right? So when you are able to fire the Apex code here, so why don't I can have a class, Apex class, and have my business logic, and when the criteria is met, I can fire. I can do that, right? But the difference you can notice here, the process builder can only be fired after DML event, right? Only after you create the record, right? What is the evaluation criteria in process builder? When a new record is created, when it is edited, correct? So only for after DML event, your process builder will fire. But Apex trigger can be fired for before and after DML. Before and after DML, right? But your process is for your only after DML. And again, the after DML, you can't fire your process, invoke your process for update and undelete. You can't do that, right? You can only, you can't do for your delete and undelete for in the process. The process will only work for after insert and update. Only these two events in the after DML is supported in the process. These are the differences, right? Some of the differences. Am I right? What is visual flow? Why do I go for visual flow? Why should I go for visual flow? Yes, please. What is visual flow? Why should I have this? Why should I go for visual flow if I have a workflow, process builder, approval process, right? So what is the requirement? What is the necessity? When I should opt visual flow? When should I opt visual flow? When you have a user interaction, right? The process builder and Apex trigger or your workflow approval process, it doesn't require user interactions, right? Its process is automated. That's it. You cannot have an user interactions in between the process automation. But visual flow, you build the screen elements and you run the screen elements, the order is defined in your visual flow, and you can automate different types of actions as part of visual flow. For example, an agent is going to create a case. Okay, so what agent can do, right? You can get the customer information first, right? And usually, what you will do to create the case, if customer call you and as an agent, support agent, if you are a support agent, you'll get the customer information, maybe in email, right? So you will check first in your environment, the contact object, for example, whether is customer is entitled for providing support, is eligible, is actually a customer, whether you actually is a customer to provide the support, right? So you will look up the email. So that would be manually you will do it. Then you will get the if the customer is if you're right, the customer is part of your contact object, then you will get product detail, issue details, right? So what is the issue, what is the reason for the problem, everything get, then finally create the case, right? So you are going to look up here a contact object, then you get the issue details, and this case is going to be created for your contact and account, isn't it? So whoever the customer, I'm going to create the case for that contact and account, right? So how do you automate this? You can automate using different screen elements. The first screen elements, you will get the email ID, right? And the next screen element, you do the process automation. So automation is nothing but you just enter the email and click submit. The process automation will look up the information to the contact object. Then you have a decision block here. Whether if contact is existing, then it will go to the next screen element. The next screen element is going to get the issue details, right? So this is my screen element 1, and this is my process automation, and this is my screen element 2, and this is my screen element, this is my process automation again, process automation, and this is my process automation, right? So I have a process automation in between the user interaction, right? So when that is your requirement, you can go with visual flow, isn't it? User interaction, process automation. Together you can standardizing the process, standardize your process using visual flow. So every agent will run the flow, and you standardize the process. Not an agent, some agent will ask different details, which are not necessary. But if the process is not standardized, then the process cannot be expected to be same for everywhere in your business, right? It will be different. It's human nature, right? So we don't have a process in place, then not everyone will follow the same procedure to create the case, correct? So, but now it's standardized. You just run the flow, and you run through the screen elements, and the process automated in between, isn't it? Am I clear? You're able to explain now what is process, what is visual flow, and all. So what is the difference? In the visual flow, you can also delete the record automatically, which cannot be done in process builder. The action can also, you can delete the record. You can delete the record in process builder. It's not only record create and update. You can take every actions that you have in process builder using visual flow. But in addition to that, there are many actions you can automate in visual flow, like your lookup and many things. And one such automation is deleting a record. You can automatically delete when the criteria is met as part of this flow, visual flow. Okay, we also call it as flow. So I can implement the flow, as a URL, right? You can have a custom button and click on the button, the flow can run. You know that, right? We have covered that in our sessions. Flow. It's different login, so I don't find this. So flow can be implemented. Every flow will have an unique URL. So that URL can be uh, invoked based on a button click event also, right? So you can create a custom button and you can uh, have that flow to run when button click event is fired. Okay. So this examples of flow is given here. Okay, you can check on this. Creating a Salesforce records from a flow. See, delete the record, Salesforce record from a flow. Right? You can delete also. Right? So I don't want to spend more time on this. You can check out my videos about the flow. Um, any other questions you have? Any questions here? Hmm? What is this? You will get this issue in real time. In when you update more than 10,000 record using DML. Okay. Say I have a SOQL, right? I have an SOQL. So this is my list. So suppose this is valid. This says bring a 12,000 record. Okay. This the query resulted into 12,000 records, and I have a DML here, right? Of course, I have some process in between. Then I update my list here. So like if when you update using DML more than 10,000 records, you will hit a governor limit, and your process would be terminated with this error message: too many DML 10,001 as a message. Okay, so why it is so? There's a governor limit for your DML as well. How many records you can update in your Apex? So what is this? So number of records processed as a result of DML statements cannot be more than 10,000, right? So what you can do in this case, if your process is doing no is your application is might process a large volume of data, what could be your suggestion? What should be your approach? How can I work with these governor limits? How can I move away from this governor limit? Yes, I can go with batch Apex, right? Why you go for batch Apex? Why should I go for batch Apex? Yes. Anyone? See, my account is having 10,000 records, right? For example, or 12,000, whatever that we have discussed, 12,000 records, for example. So using batch effects, I can break my records into different manageable chunks, right? Got me? So what is the maximum, by default, how many records can be processed in? So what is batch effects basically? You have a 3 methods: start, execute, and finish, right? So it's an interface you will implement. A class can be implemented, and where you provide implementation for 3 methods. So this 12,000, the query will be executed in the start method, and this execute method will run for different manageable chunks. So every chunk, every piece of your the broken the batch will process 200, right? So 12,000 by 200. So how many? That is going to be a number of execute method will run. Number of execute block will run, right? So every block will consider as a discrete transaction. It means what are the governor limits we have that would be applicable for that particular discrete transaction. So 200, it means, so it means what? It's not like I'm processing 12,000. It's like I'm processing only 200 records, right? Because every single chunk will have a dedicated its own governor limits, right? So when you are actually processing large volume of data, when your accounts, when your application is processing DML for more than 10,000, you can't do it without batch effects, right? So you go for batch effects, and so that my execute can process 200 records for every transaction. So, right, I will not hit my governor limits. So every execute will have a new governor limits, new set of governor limits, right? And finally, the finish will wrap up the process. The start will execute once to get all the records, and execute will run. No, so 200 into 10, it means for 2,000 records in a batch, then 10 times the execute method will run. So you'll not hit the governor limits in this case, right? Fine. Any question on this? Any other questions, please? Questions on a collection. Okay, a question on collection. How do you get a map of ID and how do you create a collections, a map of ID and account records? This one. How do you create this map? How do you create this map? Is this right? This way I create the map of ID and account record. This way, is this fine? Yes, yes or no? Yes or no, please? In chat window. Are you clear on this? Is able to understandable? It's able. Do you think you can do this right? Can do this. If I can create the map of ID and account, can I do this? Yes, you can do this, but you can still more do it this with more simpler way. You can do this more simpler way. See here. So there is a constructor method. Okay, this is my constructor, right? So where you pass the query as an argument here. Where you pass the query as an argument here. Got me? So this will also create a map of ID and account record. You just have your SOQL query as a constructor parameter. So it's a map constructor, right? You call it as constructor, isn't it? So if a constructor method using a map for a map, you can also create the ID in one statement, ID and account record, right? So I covered this. You're lagging with the practice. You have to do more practice. Suppose I have right. So this is my map, for example. This is my map. Or else any questions you have? No question? Subject. It should be a string, really. So this is my. You can also do using a database.query method to execute the query, right? This will also give a collection. So what I'm doing here, I'm store the records result into the generic S object collection, right? Okay. So now I need a ID of account alone into another set. Account IDs alone. I need a ID from this collection. How to do this? How will you do normally? First, I have a collection here. Right. This is fine, isn't it? So I have a collection here. So how can I get all the account IDs into another collection? Where should I get here? So before I get IDs here. First, I have to, in one statement, how do I get the IDs from this? So will you iterate this? Will this work? O dot ID. Will this work? Yes. So this way you can get it, right? So still more, any other way you can get the IDs from here, from this res? Any other way? Yes, it give the result. That's fine. But how, any other way in one statement I can bring this still more a short form? I can save the statements here. Right. So this is my result, right? This is my res. Res is the collection of S object. So, and we have just discussed the query can be a. Oh, I did that. Okay. So my constructor can also have an argument as a query, right? So I can use this same approach, right? I can use the same approach here. So this is nothing but my, so this is nothing but my, so this, my query, res, correct? So I got the res here. So now, we know like, so I can get ID from this collection. How do I get ID from this collection? How do I get ID from this collection? Anyone? Only account IDs? Right. So I already have this. I repeat every statement here. So how do I get? How I'm going to get this, right? So I use a map and pass this res, and then acc map dot key set. Correct? Makes sense. This is map dot key set. So I directly get this, right? So I can do like this, or else still more. I'm just giving you every form of. You can do like this. I pass this query, and this is my ACC map, right? This is my ACC map. So instead I put it in ACC map, then I execute key set. I run my key set against this, right? This constructor method itself, instead of doing it against ACC map. So I save another statement here, right? So I do it like this. Initializer map found for ID account, expect map with the same key values. Okay. Oh, it is S object. Okay. It should be a subject, right? It's not. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't have map. It should be a subject. Why I used map? I just copy paste and I confused. That's what we should not copy paste anything. You have to type out. It should work now. Correct. Can do that. So with this, I wind up the session. Any questions you have? I'll share these notes, and I will also upload these. I'm recording this video. I will upload this video into my YouTube channel. I think you subscribe for this, right? So you'll get notified if you are subscribed. I'll upload these videos into my YouTube channel. Okay, you can access this. And apart from this, uh, you I think you are preparing for interview, right? So when you prepare for interview, make sure you also be strong in explaining your project, right? Like a business and purpose of Salesforce in your project, and whether Salesforce is integrated with any other system. Just give some brief overview of that part, and then what type of project work you involved in your project, whether it's admin work or development work or integrations. So try to frame these, try to come up with this content before you appear for interview, right? So tell about your project. So you should start with what is your business and purpose of Salesforce in your business, any other modules integrated with Salesforce, and what type of project work you are handling, what is your responsibility, right? So make sure, and I have still more questions to discuss, but I think no time now. So if required, you can post your questions to my, send your questions to my email. I will help you out. Okay. So hope you are all done with your certification, right? Is it? You like to have a, you like to, you can apply for it, right? Reach me for any help. One last questions and the security model, so that I can make this a complete Q&A session. Right, one last questions. See, I have uh, I have a role hierarchy in my org, like a sales manager, and then there is a two sales roles under this sales manager role. Okay. Right, there are two roles. And this, I have a sales manager, and I have Eastern sales and Western sales, isn't it? Right. So Eastern sales, right? There is a user called David. There is a sales agent called David, and my Western sales, I have a user, say Praveen, and it's me, sales manager. Okay, there's a user Ranjit. So now my model, the object model in my org, like account and contact, or in my account is in private. My account is in private, for example. So it means what? OWD sharing settings should be a private. So what is private means? Users cannot see each other's account record, right? They are only owners can see. Only if they're owner, then they can only see their record. If they have any accounts under their ownership. So user can only see their own record. They cannot see others' account record in the org, right? So we'll check on it. Go here. Yes, contact is in private. Contact is in private, and he's Eastern Sales and he's Western Sales, and he's Sales Manager, right? So everything is right. So now, if I log in into as David, right? Then the David should not see the account records under the Sales Manager ownership, isn't it? Am I right? That's what the private model says, right? The account is in private now. The account is in private model now, isn't it? Yes, the account is in private model. So I go to David login, account. So where is the account? Account tab itself is not accessible. Okay, so why? What's the reason? Why the David is unable to see the account tab at all? So go to his agent profile and check on object permission of account. So first thing I'm going to check. Okay, none of the permission is given, right? So go and enable, and even though the tab is, even though the tab is default on for account, it's default on, but the object permission is not given, right? So even at least he should have a read permission to see the tab. So go back and refresh. Yes, you got the account tab. So now you should not see any others accounts records, right? But he is able to see, isn't it? He's able to see his record, see others data. So David is able to see. So what's the reason? What should be the reason? How can you troubleshoot this? How can you troubleshoot this, right? So as an admin, if an admin, right, you would like to troubleshoot this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to that particular account record, right? As an admin, I go to the sharing button. Since account is in private model, you will see a sharing button, right? It will appear for, I can share my account record to others, right? So I'm seeing the sharing button, click sharing, and we have a expand list here, expand it, right? Overall got the access here, you can see here. So David got the access, but he should not, right? But he got access. The reason is in account access level. So what does it mean? This is actually, the reason account opportunity case level. At account level itself, only at the account level you got an access. It means this is related to your account team. For every account record, you can enable the account team basically, right? So as a related list, you can see here there is an account team. So at the account level, the user got an access which can be identified under this sharing button, right? David, the reason is account team. It belongs to the account team. It belongs to the account team. So expand list, and there is a question mark why. Click on it. It will give you more information about why he has got the access. Why this user got an access. The user got an access, read-only access, because of he belongs to account team. So you can, right? You can just go to that record and see, yes, he's an account manager role. So he got an access. Even though the model is private, he got an access because he belongs to the account team, right? That one way he can do that. And the contact, right? The contact, why is able to see the contact, right? I just want to restrict with account itself. I don't want to let user to see the contact object. So what you can do, contact object record. So you can do, just go to your first you have to check out what is a model account contact is in. The contact is in controlled by parent, right? So it means, if the user got a read access to the account record, then that will also inherited to the contact. So user can also see the contact record because it's controlled by parent, right? If you like to make everything as private, then you can edit and make it as private, so that if as an account manager he has gotten access to account David, but even he cannot able to see the contact because it's private. If it is going to be in private, then even though he got an access on account because of his role, account team, role in account team, where he got the read access to account, but he cannot see the contact. But if it is in controlled by parent, if you got read access to account, you will also get the same account to the access to the contact. So controlled by parent is applicable for your master data relationship in custom objects, right? So controlled by parent is for your master data relationship, right? The posting object, right? And your view object, right? It should be, it's right. They are in child side of your relationship. Okay, right. So with this, I'll wind up session today. Any questions, you can send me email. So I'll upload this video into my drive. So any question, we can wind up the session. Yes. Okay. Take care, all of you. You can call me anytime if you want need any help, any information. So make sure you subscribe these. I'll upload more questions for you, more videos for you guys.